everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from chilly Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And back from travels abroad, I'm Dan Beecher.
Oh, welcome back, Dan.
Thank you.
And another big thanks to Rachel for sitting in last week.
Yes, what a wonderful thing. She did great.
I just realized while we were talking right before the show that I didn't even introduce her last week. Sorry for the confusion, everyone.
I haven't been replaced as yet. Though she did great, so maybe I should be.
Oh, no, Dan. No, never, ever.
Founding member, I. You and I.
Yeah, coming up on the show today, just so everybody knows what to expect, there's this really unsettling rise of antisemitism going on in the world and in the United States right now.
Yeah, and the gay hatred and the trans hatred,
Yeah.
things are ratcheting up.
Lots of hate going on.
And we are going to find a way to make that funny. No, we're not. We're going to talk about it for sure. That's what we're going to do. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but first, Dan, can you believe it? We're getting to hear a lot about that Mr. Trump again.
Yes. Oh, yes. The Donald.
Geek. Wow. Running for president again for the third
Yoink.
time. Third time's the charm. Is that what they say?
I don't think it's the third time. People say it's the third time. He ran before a little bit. He kind of floated a candidacy before 16 or whatever.
But not for realsies, right? Like it was clearly a publicity stunt the first time. It was publicity stunt the second time.
Right. But then he accidentally won.
I know.
Which ruined everything.
Ugh. Anyway, it's been very interesting to watch the response on the right since this announcement from Trump that he's going to try for it again, because all of his former supporters are having to wrestle with the idea of supporting him again. And the political climate has obviously changed, and the situation has changed, and they would have
And everyone who was supporting him lost their election.
And then there's that. And yeah, just the poor showing for the Republicans and in the midterms, and everybody questioning, like, are we on the right course as a party? And we all could have told you this a while back.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Come to any of us. Literally.
Like it's widely known on the left that you guys are wildly out of
literally terrified of you people.
Well, so some people are starting to position themselves, and a televangelist and president of the Christian Life Outreach International group, James Robison. He served as
Robbie to his friends.
He served as one of the spiritual advisors to Donald Trump while he was in office.
That worked well.
He was speaking at a meeting of the National Association of Christian Lawmakers, and the NACL, which is obviously a conservative political group. And they focus heavily on social issues. They pledge to advocate for anti-abortion policies and to uphold the sanctity of marriage as a sacred union exclusively between one man and one woman.
Wow, they're still on that? We finished that one. We got over that one.
No, they want to bring that one back. That's an oldie but a goodie for them.
It's a classic. You can't go wrong with the classics.
Well, they need good issues to rally their people, and abortion sort of they won, right? Not that it's settled at this point, right. But sort of they got what they wanted, and they need something else to lest the base feel a little too
comfortable,
satisfied, right, and grow complacent. They need to remind them about the gay marriage, and wildly popular gay marriage, by the way,
right?
But where was I going with this? Oh,
Donald Trump.
He was talking at this event, And he spoke for a little while, just about conservative issues that were on his mind. And then he turned to the topic of Donald Trump. And
danger. Danger.
He said that he has the tendency to act, quote, like a little elementary school child. Ooh.
Oh, you can see that now, can you?
Yeah. Well,
you noticed that?
Apparently he saw it at the time, but I will get to that.
Okay.
If Mr. Trump can't stop his little petty issues, how does he expect people to stop major issues? Okay. Oh, and then he starts like, he's on just going on and like criticizing Donald Trump, saying negative things about him. But then he sort of has to like boast about himself. And he says, everything you wanted him to hear. Remember, he's talking to elected officials here, right? Every single little thing you ever prayed for him to hear came through these lips right straight into his face.
Oh my God.
And with the same force you've heard me talking to you, I spoke it to him. I guess he was really in a lather.
Yeah.
And he said, sir, you act like a little elementary school child, and you shoot yourself in the foot every morning you get up and open your mouth. The more you keep your mouth closed, the more successful you're going to be. This is what he supposedly was telling Trump.
He never said that to Donald Trump. Let me tell you, like, we all know Trump well enough to know that anyone who said anything remotely like that was never going to be in Trump's presence again.
Apparently, like, this man is like so worked up that like the whoever wrote this article is like, he's basically he's yelling and screaming so much at the podium that he's like spitting and foaming, right? And so like he's saying that he said this to Donald Trump.
You fucking liar. You did not.
But it's important for him to start his distancing, right?
Yeah.
I was in the inner circle. I was there. I was telling him way back when how harmful he was, right? And we can't stand for this anymore, basically, right? And then another thing the article brings up, let's see, Mike Evans, who was another one of these former advisors to Donald Trump, religious advisors, and an evangelical. He said in an essay that he sent to the Washington Post, but I don't think the Post actually printed it because the way that it's sort of stated here, that he would not vote for Trump again, and recalled how he once left a Trump rally in tears because I saw Bible believers glorifying Donald Trump like he was an idol. All of us knew that Trump had character flaws, but we considered our relationship with him transactional. We wanted Supreme Court justices to overturn Roe v. Wade. We wanted his support for our biblical issues. We all wanted his support for the state of Israel. Donald Trump indeed kept and exceeded his promises to us. However, Evans said Trump had done damage by turning the pulpit that we preach from into a political platform. Oh yeah, Trump did that?
Yeah, Trump did that.
Oh,
that was
okay.
That was a Trump thing that happened. Not literally what you're doing right now.
He continues, Donald Trump can't save America. He can't even save himself. He used us to win the White House. We had to close our mouths and eyes when he said things that horrified us, Evans wrote. I cannot do that anymore. So
yeah, but did you notice that you did it?
Yeah. That you were
like, literally, these people made a deal with the devil, and now they're realizing that it was a bad thing, and trying to paint it like it was like they were on the right side of it the whole time.
Yeah. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that until, obviously, if it becomes obvious that Donald Trump is just going down, there's going to be tons more of this. But it's going to be interesting if Donald Trump is on track to getting the nomination, how these guys are going to have to backpedal, because they're going to have to. Right?
Yeah. The we knew the whole time gambit seems to be, okay, I get it. I see where you're coming.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, yeah, we knew, but it was a means to, okay, shut up. Well, I'm going to take us to Tennessee, where apparently a bill has been introduced, filed in the Tennessee State Senate that would make it a Class A misdemeanor for a first violation and a Class E felony for a second violation to do drag in front of children.
Oh.
Apparently, there's no telling what they think the crime part of this crime is. It's literally just being in lady clothes if you're a boy.
Oh my God.
I guess. But what it speaks to is a much scarier thing, which is the fact that right now the right is demonizing trans people and literally saying that the existence of anyone willing to do a thing like drag and demonizing queer people in general.
Yeah.
And just saying that the existence of it is literally grooming children for molestation. This is this is a steady pounding beat in the right wing fringe.
Yeah.
And at this moment in history, in these United States, fringe is all the right wing got at this point.
Yeah.
So they're hearing it. And your harmless right wing grandma is hearing this, is hearing that gay people, that trans people are out there trying to groom children for molestation. That's their whole thing.
Wow.
So, it sounds crazy and weird and fringy until you see bills like this being introduced seriously into state legislatures.
Yeah. So the bill's just introduced at this point, and then
yes, it has not been passed.
Did it make its way through committee? Like how much of a chance does this thing actually have?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It was filed
Okay.
a couple weeks ago.
Probably won't pass just because there's some. It's problematic at best.
It is problematic,
right?
But
I'm no legal scholar, right? But I can imagine this would be fairly easy to challenge as a law, right?
One would think, but with our howler monkey Supreme Court, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
The other thing is that this comes at a time when in Chattanooga there was recently a big protest of a harmless all audience, safe for everyone drag show.
Yeah, we talked about it last week on the show.
Yeah. So this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Out there, and it's not safe right now. And if you encounter this kind of rhetoric, I think it's kind of incumbent on all of us, if it's safe for us to do so, to call it out.
Yeah.
And in no uncertain terms, because the only place where it's almost guaranteed that you'll find actual pedophiles is the clergy. It is definitely not the drag clubs.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's not what drag is about. Not even close. Not even it's such a twisting of something that is it's anyway. It's about gender expression, not about
and it's about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's about entertainment. It's about fun.
Yeah.
It's about subversion and all sorts of things, but none of it's about molesting the children.
No, it's not. Oh, it's so. I don't know why I just laughed. That's just wretched. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to talk about this. The recently released U.S. Religion Census, the results of it, the most recent one. It happens every 10 years, sort of on the tail of the actual U.S. Census, which no longer collects religious affiliation information, right? Hasn't since the 50s or 60s.
So is the U.S. Religion Census? It's not done by the.
It is
US
not
government.
done by the U.S. government. It is done by the Association of Statisticians of American Religious Bodies, ASARB.
What a beautiful. I mean, Everybody should belong to that organization.
Yeah, they're doing it to sort of fill in this what they see as a vital gap of information about the American population. This is from the Salt Lake Tribune. And so, of course, the focus is a little bit more on the Mormons and how many there are. But it's interesting that the angle that the reporter went with is sort of drawing into question the methodology of the religion census period, right?
Because I frequently have big problems with the methodology behind a lot of the research.
Yeah. And the one that I think we've sort of been very intrigued by on the show has been, I don't remember which one exactly it is, but it's a regular sort of, taking of the American religious sentiment, polls, right? Where it's people self-reporting what their affiliation is. Right. And we've always talked about that as like, oh yeah, that seems like the way to do it. Right. Because I mean, that's getting to, you're what you are willing to identify as. I'm sure there's still some problems, in how people are willing to self-report, or how people maybe haven't processed out of the religion yet, and they just socially identify as, I'm Mormon,
right.
Even though objectively, that cigarette and can of beer says otherwise.
Right.
And the fact you haven't been to church in 20 years. But I'm Mormon. But the way that this one does it is highly problematic in that they go to the churches
right,
and ask them, could you please tell me how many adherents you have?
Yeah, tell me about your membership. Tell me about all the people that you haven't expunged from your rolls at this point.
And according to USARB, adherents include all of those with an affiliation to a congregation, meaning children, members, and even attendees who are not members.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just people who show up for whatever
you're
reason.
An adherent, clearly, right? So including people who may not even identify as Catholic or Mormon or whatever, right? And one of the ways that the article points out how problematic this reporting is first of all, the LDS Church, the numbers that are reported in this study says that there are 6,721,031 Mormons in the United States, which, according to this article, is the same number the church reported on official membership figures at the time. Right. So it's literally, they are literally just getting straight from the church, and it went and it probably went through the PR department just to make sure, that number looks good enough. But one of the areas up in Rich County here in Utah, which is where Bear Lake is, which is a popular boating and place for people to have cabins. Yeah, recreation area. The county has only, 2,510 residents.
Okay.
The Mormon Church claims over 2,700 members in Rich County. And across the border in Idaho, Franklin County, they claim 14,194 residents, and the church says that there's over 16,000 members in that county. And so
now wait a minute. Can livestock be Mormon? This is this is possible if we look at if we see sheep as family members.
It's kind of funny. The writer, the journalist, sort of comments on the 100. He says, "Note that there could be some sketchy accounting here. I remain skeptical that 110% of Rich County's residents are Latter-day Saints." And the other funny thing that the Tribune did is they had a graphic showing all the counties in the state, and sort of the percentage of Mormons in the county. And it ranged from kind of a a lightish orange color up to like a really dark orange color. And then they have sort of this beet red that is off the charts for Rich County, which I thought was really kind of funny because it's not even on the key. But nonetheless, this is from the Tribune's data columnist, Andy Larson. He promises that he's going to break down like trends and whatnot in the coming weeks. So
cool.
It's definitely something to watch. His analysis, I've really grown to enjoy his writing. Actually, he breaks down the numbers really well. So if you happen upon any results from the U.S. Religion Census, everyone out there, just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, or a few grains of salt.
Be a little skeptical maybe of some of the numbers you see.
Yikes. All right. Well, I'm going to take us over to Ukraine. There's been a bit of a dust up there lately. I don't know if you've heard about it.
That's what we're calling it.
There's been a bit of a ballyhoo, a bit of a to do, and the Ukrainian counterterrorism force has decided to raid a campus there, actually a few campuses, causing a bit of a stir. The Orthodox Church is apparently being raided by this group, or by this counterterrorism group, the SBU, which is the Ukrainian sort of counterterrorism and counterintelligence organization. And apparently there are a lot of Orthodox monks and priests who are still loyal to the Moscow Patriarchate.
Ooh.
And are very much consider themselves Russian Orthodox. Of course, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church was affiliated with the Russian Orthodox for the longest time, until Russia went and swiped Crimea, and then that may have rattled some cages and ruffled some feathers, and they broke. A few of the groups broke off to form the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
Okay.
And got the thumbs up from the Constantinople Patriarchate, which is funny because there's no such thing as Constantinople anymore, but that's okay. The guy in Istanbul is considered to be first among equals in the Orthodox Church. I don't know what that actually ends up meaning, but the fact that he gave it the thumbs up was a big shot in the eye to the Russian Orthodoxy. Kirill, who's the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, has just been think of him like a little Joey in the kangaroo pouch of Putin. He just likes to hang out there and jump around with Vladimir.
That makes me have positive feelings. I like kangaroos. And Joeys are cute.
Okay. So you come up with your own metaphorical way in which Patriarch Kirill is very firmly in the pocket of one Vladimir Putin.
He's a little snake in the snake nest.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And so literally, apparently they've been raiding Orthodox Church campuses and finding like pro-Russia things there. And they've been looking for that's apparently, another bed of snakes, another den of vipers.
Yeah.
And it's such bullshit, because your job is spiritual edification, not fucking propaganda against your own countrymen.
Yeah. Jesus.
But there you go. It's funny because the way that Kirill has talked about this war in Ukraine, this invasion of Ukraine, he basically called what did he call it? He called it a metaphysical issue where it was Russia going in to save Ukraine from the liberal influences of the West. So apparently that is the Russian Orthodox line on this.
Wow.
Is that Ukraine needs saving from the encroachment of, good ideas.
Liberals.
Yeah.
Liberal West. Wow. All right. Well, that's super fun.
Yeah.
Here closer to home, Dan, over there in Colorado Springs, where Club Q was shot up by a young, turns out he was Mormon, the kid. Anyway.
Yep.
Yep. The church quickly disavowed, said, well, he hasn't been active in 10 years. And I'm like, that is a distinction that like we'll understand. The rest of the world is not going to, it's Mormon. Have fun with that, LDS church.
they what's funny is that the ex-Mormon community moved quickly to point out like Mormon rhetoric that would very clearly lead to this, including but not limited to that talk where one of their apostles said that it was time for metaphorical musket fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
In the war against the gays.
Well, this story also has to do with rhetoric against the gays. In that I wanted to talk about the fact that Focus on the Family is headquartered in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
And their big fancy sign going up to their facilities or church or whatever it is has been vandalized. With the words, "Their blood is on your hands, 5 lives taken." And just to talk about Focus on the Family for a minute, it is an anti-LGBT organization, amongst other things that they are anti.
It's a Southern Poverty Law Center designated hate group.
Yeah, they don't like the gays. And so the kind of rhetoric and the kind of positions that they encourage politicians to take against the gay community. Obviously, they're against gay marriage. The organization
changed their name to focus on one kind of family.
The organization states on its website that it believes marriage is between a man and a woman. In 2014, they spoke out against adding sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression to non-discrimination laws. Citing concerns about conflicts with religious liberties. Because, they need to be free to hate people.
It would be dangerous if they couldn't, spout hatred as liberally as they wish to.
Exactly. And so while nobody wants to encourage vandalism or dismiss it, this is a case where the vandalism is defacing a hate group sign in the wake of a horrible incident by somebody who maybe wasn't, a direct, follower of what they were saying, but it doesn't matter what the source. It's the exact same anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, just coming from a different religious group. And of course, there's also, you sent me the clip earlier, his father,
the shooter's dad
talking about, being relieved that he wasn't gay.
Literally, no, it's worse than that. Literally, the guy, and this guy is a bit of a treat. This guy's dad is, I don't know if it's meth. I don't know what it is. He is not well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not okay.
Right.
But they're asking about it, and they're saying your son was accused. He's like, I don't know what he was accused of. I don't know. And they were like, he was accused of going to a gay club and shooting people, doing a mass shooting. And he's like, oh, what? Well, he's accused of that, but at least he's not gay.
Yeah.
All that he cared about was how bad it would have been if his son were gay.
Right.
And he was not really that alarmed that his son actually murdered people.
Well, just the way that he says gay, just the way that the visible relief, right, that his son's not gay.
Yeah.
This kid grew up hearing hate about gay people. This is not the first time this man has said something negative
Well, and that guy,
Negative about the gay
I understand
community.
that the kid's estranged from his dad now,
Yeah.
but hasn't always been.
Yeah.
And, that the dad also said, I'm a conservative and I'm a Mormon and we don't do gay.
Right.
Like literally he like spelled it out. We Mormons don't do gay.
Right.
But we do shooting of gay
Yeah.
people, apparently.
And so, Focus on the Family has come out and said that they mourn the tragedy of the shooting at Club Q, and that the organization wanted to make it clear it stands against hate.
Yeah, right.
And so it's interesting how, okay, we kind of keep jumping back between the Mormons and Focus on the Family. But the Mormon church quickly came out and disavowed, these people, right? And said, well, this kid hadn't been to the church in like 10 years or whatever. But where did he get his ideas?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, come on, right? Like you say you're all about love, right? And that you would have nothing like, oh, what a despicable event. Yeah, I'm sure you do feel that way, but you also have a message that allows space for people to come up with really violent reactions and take violent action against other people. Like there's space for it because your message, whether you like it or not, is hate, right?
100%.
It's not, you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. You just can't. Because people are going to always, they have to say that. And I'm hearing the coded message over here. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
That's sick. But anyway.
And we'll be talking more about hate later on in the show.
Yeah,
so
of course. Yeah.
It's a fun hate-filled program this week.
Hate.
But before we get to that, I've got one more story, and it's not. It's just stupid. So you don't have no trigger warnings necessary on this one. Just enjoy. There's a guy named Pastor Michael Baldwin.
Okay.
And he had a vision. And that vision was for a Christian theme park called Miracle Mansion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, I don't know all of the details that were going to be in the Miracle Mansion. But it was meant to be a, quote, high quality performing arts experience that promotes family focused inspiration, entertaining enrichment anchored by a biblical worldview, which sounds, those places are always just great, just a hoot. And for this, Pastor Baldwin went out there and raised money. One of his pitches was that the 73-acre complex needed 73,000 people to give $73 a month for 73 months.
That's clever.
It's got a theme. It's thematic.
Yeah.
If he had received that, he would have gotten $38 million. So that would have been good.
Miracle Mansion would have been amazing.
Yeah. As it is, he got a lot of money, $800,000 ish roundabouts.
Mike,
turns out there was no Miracle Mansion.
Oh,
the Miracle Mansion was his bank account.
So okay. So it didn't even build a Miracle McMansion for $800,000.
No. Which you know what? That's the thing. I keep getting baffled by these con artists because the con is already baked into the cake of your game.
Right.
Like all you have to do is the most basic nothing and you'll get away with it.
Right.
Like all you have to do is something,
right,
is what I should say. Just any little thing. And then you can keep as much of the money as you want and make the worst thing and you'll be fine. But if you keep all of the money, then you're going to be tried by in federal court for wire fraud and securities fraud.
Ooh, is that what's happening?
He was found guilty of that.
Oh.
So yeah, he faces up to 40 years in prison and up to $5.2 million in fines. It's a
little miracle jail cell for him.
Yeah, your miracle mansion now includes cellmates.
Well, maybe he's getting a miracle mansion in heaven, right? Isn't that kind of a
well? He'll have lots of time to repent, so we'll see about that. Anyway, there you go. If you, friends at home, have a miracle mansion that you'd like to tell us about, please write into us. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com is the email address.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. Our telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
All right, Frank.
Dan,
as a sort of amuse bouche leading into our next segment, our final segment, I'm going to play some audio from Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
We've played him before, and I've always seen him as a very sort of fringe character, never really known how seriously to take him.
Okay.
But I gotta say, this week their video emerged of him walking side by side with Kanye West on his way to Mar-a-Lago.
Well, that paints a picture.
Yeah. So, I guess he's making waves. This guy. He's worth paying attention to. And I gotta say that what I'm about to play is the nicest clip of him from this week.
Oh, jeez.
This is the least trigger warning of them. It gets much worse than this, but this one was at least goofy. He was just pure anti-Semitism this week. Anyway, here's what he had to say.
Okay.
So you're either a Catholic or you're a Jew. You're either a Catholic or you're with the Jews. That's how it is. That's the way the world is. So, anyway, that's that. And when are Catholics going to start asserting their control? I want Catholics to run this country, not Jews. I want this country to be run by Catholics, not Jews. And I don't think that's controversial. I want this country to have Catholic media, Catholic Hollywood, Catholic government. I want this to be a Catholic-occupied government, not a Jewish-occupied government. That's not controversial for us. It may be controversial for you. It's not controversial for us. We're Christians. You're not. It's not They could say it's eyebrow-raising for who? These people with the fucking cubes on their head with the fucking linen line wrapped around the city? Maybe. Who cares about them and their eyebrows and their frickin' descriptions of movies? It's not controversial for us. We're Christians. You know what's eyebrow-raising for us? Wearing a cube on your head. That's eyebrow-raising. I make that when I see some guy with a frickin' thing wrapped around his head and a little hat under a big hat, I'm like, what? Jesus already came, dude. It's the Messiah's arrived. What are you doing?
So there you have it, Frank.
You're either a Catholic or you're a Jew.
It's one or the other.
I can think of others.
No. No. Look.
I'm not Catholic. Does that mean
2 billion Muslims doesn't count?
They're Jews.
They're Jews. They count as Jews. In his mind,
Hindus, they're Jews.
Yeah. Oh, they're Jews for sure. Super Hindu. It even rhymes.
What the fuck is this guy's deal?
It is. It's getting dangerous out there.
Holy shit!
It's getting dangerous. I don't like it.
That's the kind of rhetoric that really does start to lead to something.
Yeah.
Dangerous, right? Like actually violent, dangerous.
Yeah, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Oh shit.
But
and you said this was the nicest thing.
That
you
was
said
the
this
good
week?
one. That was the like kind of sweet one. That wasn't the one where he was like, "I'm sick of hearing about this Holocaust." Blah blah blah. Like, it's not good. It's not good.
Oh,
and I opted out of playing also other sound bites from pastors talking about the Club Q shooting.
Yeah, that was probably wise.
Yikes. All right. But on a much more pleasant front, we've heard from our listeners. We've got emails.
Yay.
I don't know. Do we have any voicemails?
None this week.
Okay. But we have some lovely missives from people. This is the first one. Hey there. I'm a pianist and former music teacher that has played for various things and religious services. I currently play for a church in a small town. It's an easy paycheck, and it keeps me sharp. I recently started a new position and mentioned to a coworker that I was busy Sundays because I play for a church. She made a few comments about me being a fellow believer and that I was nervous to correct. I finally spoke up when she invited me to a weekly prayer group at work by saying, I wanted to let you know since you believe and go to church. She invited me by saying, I wanted to let you know since you believe and go to church. I told her that I simply play piano there as a job. She then asked me if I went to church on a regular basis. I said no. Being in the Midwest and being an atheist is exhausting. I'm tired of everyone assuming that I am Christian and then having to awkwardly out myself to stop the unwanted invitations and advancements. Also, I'm gay. I've gotten multiple assumptions about my, quote, husband as well. I don't know what the quote is. I think the quote is that they don't know that he's his husband. Anyway, do you have any tips on how to respond? I want people to know how uncomfortable it makes others when they assume things. I know I'm tired of outing myself. I just want to exist peacefully in a world where others don't whip out their religion. Yeah, I get that. It is sort of like, it's one of the facts of life in these United States right now. There are places where it's the opposite, where, there are more atheists than believers, but a lot of places where it's just, you're just going to have to deal with that. And
I don't know.
What
exhausting.
do you think, Frank?
No, I get it. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right. Like, to always have to be like identifying yourself and to like, I think, to be honest, I think in that situation, I would grow completely just tired of it and just finally just settle in with like happy little nods. Oh, thank you for the invite. And this is not advice. This is just how I know how I would handle it. I would just completely non-confrontationally just be like, after, however many times of explaining myself, I would finally just be like, I'm not explaining myself anymore. Let them think whatever they want to about me. That would be tiring too, right? Like, I don't know what the right thing, I'm sure there's a good, simple little line. And, it sounds like the emailer is handling it pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as like,
but he's looking for something else. And I'm going to propose a thing, and it's not advice. It's just again, Frank, you said your way that you would probably handle it. My way is the opposite end of the spectrum.
I'm sure.
Which is just, I would just be like, oh no, I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
And I would just literally let that word do all the heavy lifting. And then, they'll get to know you. Or they won't. Either way, they will stop harassing you. Or maybe they'll redouble their efforts. I don't know. But especially in the Midwest there, that word will do all the work.
Yeah.
If you say it kindly and sweetly, I've done it many times here in Utah, and sometimes, and for the most part, people are just, oh, okay. Some people do get a little bit freaked out by it, but
yeah.
that's on them. That's their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a good person. And it's accurate. It's true.
Right.
And I endeavor to be as wholly me,
right.
with as many people as I can,
right.
As much as I can in the world. So for me, I just quickly correct people. Oh no, I'm an atheist.
Right.
And let them deal with their feelings about it.
Right. But I mean, there's a certain amount that's on the line in the workplace. Right.
100%. But they're the ones in the wrong here. They're the ones who shouldn't be bringing this up.
Yes, you are. You are correct, Dan. However, we live in a world where just because you're right about it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be actual real consequences.
That's
even
true.
if they're just socially at work.
That's true.
Right? Like your job may be perfectly safe, right? And whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
it's not
but
as
it's
easy
tough.
as that for
it's
everyone.
really, really tough. And because what you're saying, and believe me, as somebody who has come out in support of the idea of atheists coming out and that we need as much visibility as possible, right? I also know that, boy, there's just settings sometimes where it's just
Yeah.
do
gotta make
I
their own
cross
call.
this bridge, right? Do I,
Right.
because once I say it, it's out there, right? And because whoever the coworker is going to scurry off and be like, "Did you know that Dan's an atheist?"
Mm-hmm.
And they might be like, "Yeah, he's got this great podcast," but most likely that's not going to be the reaction.
No,
right?
no.
So,
Although it has come in handy. I will tell this story. I think I may have told it before, but I'm going to tell it again because there was a time when I was in it was a kind of community theater production. I tend not to do as much community theater, but in this case, I was in a community theater production, and it was in it was in Layton, Utah. It was not in Salt Lake City, and so very, very Mormon-y area. A lot of the theaters in that sort of type of area around here have a tradition of like doing a prayer before performances and whatever.
Sure.
And this was a unique theater thing. They were trying to start a sort of Shakespeare in the Park deal. And so they didn't really there were no traditions. It was only their second production that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't make a big deal of it, but it was clear that I did my I'm atheist thing at some point along the way. So people kind of knew. And then at one point, someone literally said, and then, we'll blah, 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 before we have our cast prayer, blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh no, we're not doing that. And she just looked at me with these big eyes, a little bit shocked. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that could make a lot of people uncomfortable if we did that. So we're not going to do that.
That could make a lot of people, me, uncomfortable.
Right. But I knew other people in the cast would have been uncomfortable too. So I was just
okay.
like, feel free to pray before you show up. But yeah, we're not going to do a cast prayer.
Well, good for you,
like,
Dan.
Oh, so sometimes being brash and just sort of over the top about things can be very helpful because nobody questioned that. That was
right.
It was so definitive that everybody was just like, oh, I guess that's just what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have more people who wrote in. Hey guys, this is from Cosmic in California. The reader who wrote in episode 568 about God and Mary procreating reminded me of a conversation I had with my partner where we drilled down into the technical details of Jesus's conception. We considered how a pregnant person's body works. Then we pondered the manipulations that God would have to perform to bring a baby to term that is not a clone of Mary.
Oh.
Which, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We think that Mary could handle everything after fertilization, but the act of fertilization is problematic. Either God made semen appear inside of Mary, assuming he didn't just physically put it there, which, by the way, is what the Mormons believe. But that's like a little side thing. Or he modified one of Mary's eggs and the environment of her body somehow. We couldn't wrap our heads around the properties of the semen God would make appear inside Mary. So we went with the other option, which led to a bumper sticker worthy solution. Jesus was a GMO.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, back in the days when that story was written, they had no understanding of how babies came about in the first place.
Right.
So I'm sure it was not a much easier sell. But now, yeah, that's a question. That's an issue. All right. And finally from Anna, hi, hey, Frank, Dan, and Rachel. Throwing her in, right, of course.
Yeah.
Y'all were talking about the Pope and his involvement in covering up sexual abuse. And I have some thoughts.
Okay.
I don't think there's any way he hasn't directly covered up abuse in his career as a clergyman. Whether by himself or by his colleagues, I don't think anyone can make it to the top of a strongly hierarchical organization and still have doe eyes and clean hands. We see the Mormon Church move abusers higher up in leadership roles, probably because it gets them away from the general public where they do direct harm and into a more dedicated group that has fewer potential whistleblowers. And I would expect that the Catholic Church does the same thing, since it reduces liability tremendously by enabling fewer incidents in the future and taking no responsibility for the past. I know you weren't letting the Pope off the hook. I just wanted to offer my 2 cents about the immense blame he should shoulder, even if he never assaulted anyone himself. So, yeah. Anna, I mean, we know that that's what the Catholic Church has done quite a bit. They either shuffled the priests around to a different diocese, or they have moved them up the chain to get them out from,
Absolutely. Yeah.
dealing with the actual believers.
But okay, but for the Pope for you to unequivocally say the Pope has to know, what you're also saying is that abuse is just completely rampant in the church.
Oh,
and
that would be an outrageous claim. No, how could you claim?
I couldn't.
It would almost be like claiming that every single diocese has had that anyone ever has looked into ever has had horrible abuse problems.
You can't say that.
It would be absurd. It would be absurd to make such an outrageous claim. Oh my God. All right. Well, Frank, we are now to a point where, it's been a couple weeks since we thanked folks.
Yeah.
And oh my God, we got some folks to thank.
Yeah. No kidding.
I'll launch us
Okay.
real quick with people from our PayPal, including Amber, who is now a new monthly subscriber, and I'm going to say at the teacher level. So now you've got Amber, you've got the magic powers of a Mormon 14-year-old. So congratulations on that. Brian, who gave us a one-time donation, thank you very much. You're now a deacon. Celine is also a deacon for her one-time donation. Josh, thank you so much for your monthly subscription. You're a deacon. James came in with a one-time donation. In honor of my 14-year-old daughter Sierra, who has questioned religion since she first heard of the concept. The future is bright with the little skeptics like her ready to move our society forward. Thank you so much. Oh, and I should have said that Brian, he also had a message that just said, "Thanks for helping me get through grad school at BYU. Oh, you poor sweet summer child. I'm glad that you're done." Well done with that. And then you've got some folks we need to thank as well.
I do indeed, Dan. We have 4 new deacons on Patreon.
Patreon.
By the name of Stu, Christopher, Jennifer, and Cheryl. So thank you to the 4 of you.
Amazing.
We have a new teacher by the name of Shauna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have 3 new priests.
What?
Gerard, Stephanie, and we had nothing to do with this. Thank you to the 3 of you.
Amazing.
And we have a new prophet, seer, and revelator
What?
by the name of Tara.
Amazing.
So thank you to the 10 of you. What these kind folk did, as well as your kind folk, Dan, they went to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and clicked on the support tab. And that's where you'll find the different options to support the show. We really, really appreciate it. It is incredibly helpful in helping us continue to do the show.
Yeah, so important.
And we have our top donor to thank as well, Dan, our Lord and Savior, Davis. Thanks so much. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan.
we've hinted at it by explicitly stating it throughout the show. But it's time to talk some hate. Because it's getting weird. And I don't know what's happening, but something is bubbling and it is boiling over right now. My friend of the show and frequent co-host, fill-in co-host Kate, her daughter is in town here in Salt Lake City, and just yesterday was downtown Salt Lake, and a dude was apparently doing the Nazi salute and Sieg Heiling in downtown Salt Lake City.
Oh my. Okay.
This comes on the heels of a tweet that I saw of a guy just losing his mind in the Seattle airport.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing, screaming Sieg Heil and then getting arrested, which is good, and hopefully put on a no-fly list for forever.
Yeah.
But this also comes on the heels of anti-Semitic graffiti, Union Station in Washington, D.C., and other places in, the Maryland area that I saw a thing about, that, including swastikas and the phrase "no mercy for the Jews."
Good Lord.
It is, you got Kanye, you got Kyrie Irving. It's getting bad out there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's all of this stuff with the trans and the gay thing. And I think we're in, what's becoming clear, very clear, is that we are in a time of like really intense scapegoating of marginalized communities.
Scapegoating. So people are feeling the pinch. People's situation is kind of on a downward trend, right? Is that what you're saying? Because for you to scapegoat, you're blaming another group for your own misfortune, right?
Yeah. I just think, I think that's exactly what's happening is, when you hear, what's his doofus, Fuentes, ranting about Jews, the Jews who are in power and blah, blah, blah. And he can name probably 3 of them, it's like, we need to take back this country. Well, not mentioning that 90% of the U.S. Congress is Christian, and
6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices, or is it 5? 5 of the 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or Catholic.
Are Catholic,
which is what he wants.
It's more than. It's more than now. It's mostly Catholic and the rest is and evangelical now, right?
I think.
Do we even have any Jewish?
I can't remember the religious breakdown at the moment.
It's bad.
But I know
literally,
that it's
we're in a
Catholic.
country. We're in a country that is very clearly all of the power structures are in the hands of Christians.
Yeah,
like that is unescapable if you look at it. Right. And yet the narrative going around is entirely, it's still Jews run the media, Jews run the government, the globalists, the blah, blah, blah. And of course, in case you don't know, the word globalist just means I'm an anti-Semite. Anyone who uses that word in any serious way is telling you they are an anti-Semite. That just means Jews.
Right.
But it's bad.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, no, I don't know. The point that I'm trying to bring up with like this, people look for a group to blame when they feel like their situation is stagnating or getting worse. Right. And what we have, of course, and it's been going on for a while, is white men in this country feeling the loss of their place in society.
Their privilege.
Right. Well, they don't see it as the loss of their privilege. That's a little too woke of framing there for you. They think that their station, that their place, right, is being taken away from them, that they're being cornered out, right?
And they're horrified.
By it.
Yeah.
And obviously, like nobody's coming after them that way, right?
No.
That's not the point of anything that's going on. But it's amazing how, from my perspective, what a small thing is being asked of them, right? Yeah. Which is just to share this country, right? And to allow other people to succeed. And nobody's saying that it's a zero-sum game, right? Like everybody should be able to get good educations, have good employment, have whatever opportunities,
and have access if they, to some of the power.
Exactly. Yes. Which might be a little bit more of a zero-sum game, but like, let's not. But it just doesn't seem like a huge ask to me. Right. And this is as a white male. Now you can throw a couple other things on there that kind of muddy the waters for me. But as a white male, I'm like, yeah, bring it on, right? Like we've had our run.
Yeah.
Like it's time to share, time to let other people have opportunities and whatnot. But anyway, it's remarkable because the reaction is over the top.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's scary. Like, and this is like, I cannot imagine what it feels like to be a Jew in this country right now, to be Jewish in this country right now. I cannot imagine it, but I have to tell you, it is the first time ever in my life where I am aware that I have a Jewish last name, where it's actually like on my mind at times, where I'm like, oh, right. Like, oh, I
get that.
Like, I'm gay and I'm not even Jewish, and I'm feeling it a little tiny bit. There's a tinge there of like the antisemitism where I'm going, ooh, right? Like this isn't me just going, oh God, like these anti-Semitic assholes, they fucking suck, right? It's actually where I'm like, Jesus, like all somebody would have to do is just look at my ID and go,
yeah,
right. So
it is to the point, like, look, this rhetoric has always been around. You know what I mean? This goes back centuries. This rhetoric is not new.
Yeah.
What's new is the way that it's getting hold. The way that it is actually like resonating in our country.
Yeah.
To the point where, and of course it is, yes, just there are the lunatics who are the ones who are shooting up gay clubs and who are who are vandalizing things with hate speech. But that's kind of how it starts. That, you know what I mean? Like when the rhetoric like starts to actually take hold and grab, the crazy people start doing stuff. And then it's not long before the less crazy people start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, we have to be, we've got to guard against that. We're in a moment where we need to take the reins of sort of social propriety and start smacking down hard. It's not the time anymore for, oh, Uncle Joe's just like that. We can't allow that anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's gone too far.
Yeah.
We need to start, like, whatever the action is that is correct and safe for you to take. You can't just not sideline time anymore.
Mm.
Is where I'm at.
No, you can't sit on the sideline. Yeah.
It's,
Well, what does that mean though? What do you do?
God,
how does that translate into action?
I mean, for me, it's things like I'm literally imagining scenarios where someone in public is saying something like this, and how I will confront them, or how I will counter it, or how I will call attention to it, how I will, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, so you're in the Seattle airport and that guy's going nuts. What do you do?
I mean, it may be, I mean, he was clearly insane, and he was also very big.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get into a scuffle at the airport. But I think it's right that you whip out a phone and you videotape it and you put it on your social media and you call it out.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? I think that it's right that you, I think that kind of thing is fine. And if you're also big and you want to, you could get in the dude's face, or you could just calmly say, you could go to him and you could confront him. Right. I don't think that would go well.
Is there
that guy?
Could you try to get the crowd to maybe like start singing a song just to drown him out? Right.
Or a chant,
or a chant of some kind. Right. Like, I don't know if people would actually join in. That's the problem with that. But like, if you were already there with like 2 or 3 people, you could try to drown him out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for me, like, I like what you're saying, where you videotape it and you put it online. Yes, because it's got to get out there. We have to know that these incidents are happening, right?
Yeah.
But in the moment when you're there, I don't want that guy even feeling like he's getting his little message out, right?
Yeah.
And so like if it's like, just somehow I don't know. That's probably
drowning him out's a great idea.
Drowning him out, maybe
start a chant, stop the hate chant, or
stop the hate. Yeah, that could work. Yeah,
shut your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
just be like Nazi.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, he's claiming Nazi. It doesn't do anything to point out that he's a Nazi, because he's proudly claiming that.
But what if you shame him in his own like the thing that the crowd turned on you on, and the thing that the crowd is shouting you down about is that you socially unacceptable.
Right.
You are a Nazi.
That's
Nazi. Right?
Or shame on you, or because that is the key. The key is that we need to make it shameful to hold these opinions.
Yeah. And in an airport, he's a big dude. He probably 99% says he ain't got a gun.
Well, that's true.
You may not want to do that at the supermarket.
But the other thing is that you want to make your flight. You know what I mean? Like, there's some calculations there. But you know what? Yeah. If you got to punch a Nazi, I'm not going to stand in your way.
Punch a Nazi.
Go punch a Nazi.
Yeah. They should turn whack-a-mole into whack-a-Nazi.
Right? We need to,
because they keep popping up. And we need to keep whacking them down. And
we need more humorists calling it out. We need more, political cartoonists out there.
Because that's what shuts up extremists.
Is a
sharply drawn political cartoon.
The effectiveness of the New Yorker.
Except with the New Yorker, it would be some droll comment about about the Nazis.
Drollness we're past the time of drollness, people. Abandon your drollness and go for the jugular. All right. Well, look, I'm open to suggestions here. Okay. And I would love if you have a suggestion out there in listener land, please write it into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and tell us about it. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click the like button.
And if you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, go to our website, thinkimatheist.com/members-only.
Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks so much to all of y'all for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.